Once upon a time, there was a brother and sister named Hansel and Gretel who lived with their father, a poor woodcutter, and their wicked stepmother on the edge of a dark, dense forest. Times were hard for the family, and food was scarce. One night, the children overheard their stepmother plotting with their father to abandon them in the forest to save money on food. The idea frightened Hansel and Gretel. But Hansel, being brave and clever, hatched a plan. "Don't worry, Gretel," he whispered, "I'll find us a way back home." Late that night, he crept outside and gathered shiny white pebbles, filling his pockets. The next morning, their stepmother led them deep into the forest. As they walked, Hansel dropped the pebbles one by one along the path. "Why are you looking back at the house?" his stepmother demanded. "I am saying goodbye to our little friends," Hansel replied. Deep in the forest, the children learned to fend for themselves, unaware of the treacherous plan laid out by their stepmother. When the pebbles glistened under the moonlight, Hansel and Gretel followed them back home. But their relief was short-lived. The stepmother was furious when she found them back at the house and, again, took them further into the forest, this time preventing Hansel from collecting more pebbles. Quick-thinking Hansel used breadcrumbs to mark the trail this time. Alas, the birds of the forest had already eaten every crumb by the time they tried to find their way home. Lost and scared, Hansel and Gretel wandered through the woods until they stumbled upon a house made entirely of candy. Starving and unable to resist, the children began to nibble at the house. "Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who is nibbling at my house?" came a wheezing voice. Out stepped an old woman, who was, in fact, a wicked witch. The witch invited them in, and they followed, lured by the promise of a feast. The inside of the house was just as magical, with tables full of delicious food, making the children's eyes light up. But when they were satiated and sleepy, the witch locked Hansel in a cage and forced Gretel to work as her slave. Her plan was to fatten Hansel up and eat him. Gretel, realizing the witch's awful intention, came up with a clever plan. Every day, when the witch came to check Hansel's finger, Gretel would give her a thin bone instead. The witch, half-blind, believed Hansel wasn't fattening up. Frustrated, the witch decided to eat Hansel regardless. "I'll boil you today," she announced, forcing Gretel to prepare the oven. With bravery in her heart, Gretel tricked the witch, claiming she didn't understand how to check if the oven was hot enough. "Let me show you, foolish girl," the witch screeched and leaned in to demonstrate. Quick as lightning, Gretel pushed the witch into the oven and slammed the door shut. As the witch screamed inside, Gretel unlocked Hansel's cage, and they escaped. On their way out, they discovered chests of gold and jewels, which they carried back home. The treasures from the witch's house ensured they were never hungry again. Upon reaching their house, they were overjoyed to find that their stepmother was no longer there, and their father welcomed them back with tears of joy. And so, Hansel and Gretel lived happily ever after.